Hey, good morning. Good to be with you. Sorry, I totally forgot to record a devotional yesterday. I was too worried about my beard missing. Um, so that's why. No, I slept in and I guess my body needed some rest and then got to work and started doing some stuff and totally forgot. So that's why I did that. But as we look at Second Samuel today, I'm going to adjust my camera, sorry. As we look at Second Samuel today, this is probably one of the most well-known um, passages of David's life. It's the story of David and Bathsheba, and it's a really sad passage because we see the king fall into this sin, this terrible sin. We know that it was a time David slept with another man's wife, and it's really even hard to think that this was consensual between him and her, since at that time a woman could not say no to the king. If the king desired something, he could get whatever he wanted. So that it's hard to see that that was even consensual. And then she becomes pregnant, and he seeks to deceive Uriah, her husband, and think it's his child. So he calls Uriah back from battle and um, tries to get him to sleep with his wife. And when he doesn't, he sends Uriah to the front of the battle. Excuse me, and Uriah is killed. So basically, David commits murder that way. So I think what a lot of us need to think about is, how does David, a man after God's own heart, fall into such a heinous sin? How does he go from all of the things that he has done and how faithful he has been, and fall into something like this, something that we wouldn't expect that King David would fall into? Um, let's look at verse 1. I'm not going to read the rest of 2 Samuel 11 because I think we know the story pretty well. But verse 1 has this key idea in it that I think we miss a lot of times. And it says, "In the spring of the year, the time when the kings go out to battle, David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel. And they ravaged the Ammonites and besieged Rabbah. But David remained at Jerusalem." So the sin that David commits against Bathsheba and against Uriah, ultimately against God, as we read in Psalm 51, came in a time when David should have been out fighting in battle. He should have been leading his men in Israel, his men of Israel, out into battle, leading them, but he instead stays home when he should be leading. And up to this point, David has always led his men in battle. He always went out with them. He didn't stay home. He was out in the middle of the battle. He was seeking direction from the Lord. He was guiding his men. And this time, he doesn't. David gets comfortable with being king. He gets comfortable being a strong nation that the Lord has blessed and given him victory everywhere he's gone, and he doesn't have any real enemies. He goes to war, but they're very strong, so he doesn't really worry, and he gets comfortable. And this time, instead of heading out and leading his people into battle, he sends Joab. He stays in Jerusalem. He stays in leisure. He stays in comfort. And it was in that moment that David he stops leading and falls into this terrible sin. So for us, it's critical that we hear this, especially in America, but anywhere. We get very comfortable. We're not being persecuted. We're not in battle. We're not in war. And we get very comfortable with all the Lord has blessed us with. And when we get comfortable, we stop fighting the spiritual battles. I've had some pretty good conversations with people about demon possession in other countries, and why do we see it there and not here? And I think, I'm not going to discuss that here, but because we don't see this blatant spiritual battle going on, we get very comfortable in our Christianity and we stop fighting. And when we do that, when we say, "Well, I'm kind of tired, so I'm not going to get to church today," or "I'm not going to be in a discipleship group," or "I'm not going to go to a Bible study," or "I'm not going to be challenged in my life to get up and read the Word early in the morning or pray or any of that," I'm doing pretty good. Things aren't going so bad. When we do that, when we get comfortable, we fall. When we don't realize that there's a battle raging on around us, a spiritual battle that we see in Ephesians 6. Then we're gonna fall. We're gonna fall hard like David does. But here's the thing, and I say this often, and I think we need to hear this often. Um, Jesus is the better David. Jesus, he chooses to lead. He chooses to lead in the battle of sin, against sin and evil, instead of staying at home, instead of staying in comfort in heaven. He chooses to come and put on flesh and suffer with us in battle, and lead us to victory. And he does, and he leads us by dying on the cross and dying to get rid of sin and to demolish the works of Satan. So Jesus is the better David, and because he is, then we can in turn find forgiveness in our failures and seek to follow him. So we are all called to deny ourselves, to take up our crosses and follow him. And we need to remember that, church. So may we follow our Lord into battle daily, the battle that he has already won at the cross, and not grow comfortable in sin. God bless you. I pray you have a wonderful day. Don't get discouraged about wearing a mask. It's no big deal. God is moving in a mighty way. Let's use this to honor the Lord and show others how we love them, and how we're okay. We have Christ. So God bless you.